It's time for our weekly chat with Texas Rangers manager Bruce Bochy. Good afternoon, sir.
Hey, guys. How we doing there?
We're doing excellent. Are you a golf fan by chance?
I am. I don't play as much as I used to. I still get out occasionally. Mike Maddox and I, we played last week, but I do enjoy watching golf. I appreciate their talent, trust me, because I know how hard a game it can be.
Do you have any thoughts, or did you see the news that the PGA Tour and the LIV Tour are merging?
I was shocked. I was stunned. You know, you saw felt the animosity between the two, and going back and forth. And I guess it's the old adage, can't beat them, join them, and so they united. And hopefully it's good for the game, because you hated to see the separation. A lot of good golfers going to LIV, and then you start to wonder, well, who are the best golfers winning these tournaments? Because a lot of them aren't in them. And so, I think it can be a good thing.
There are times when it feels like all the best players in baseball play for the Texas Rangers right now. Yes, Marcus Semien up to a 24-game hitting streak, fourth longest in club history. I know you just want him to play well, but is there ever any discussions along the way about, 24 games in a row hitting streak? Wow, that's impressive. Or do you not discuss such things?
I haven't discussed it. I don't think anybody has. I think that's something like a no-hitter. You just don't mention it. You just, let him go. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate the man, what he does for the club, not just what he's doing on the field, but, the leadership he provides and the stability. He's such a pro. Everybody I talked to before I came over here said, you're going to love Marcus. That had him, played with him, and it's all true. He's such a professional, how he goes about his business and his work ethic. He never varies from his routine, gets his ground balls, does his stuff every day. He's just been a joy to have around.
Now, my co-host Kevin here, whenever you tell him he can't do something,
right?
Usually he's like, well, I'll show you. So our suggestion is to throw to Semien, look, you can't break DiMaggio's record. And then just see kind of, just watch him do his work from there on. He'll be like, I'll show you. So that's our suggestion, Boch.
Yeah, that's I'm not going to use it, but, like where you're going.
Uh-oh.
Might have lost him. We're going to have to reconnect real quick.
It was the ghost of Joe DiMaggio stepping in.
Yeah, the ghost of Joe D.
He was
he's like, this has a possibility of happening, so I'm going to shut down this answer.
Because it sounded like he was about to say, you know what, that's not a bad idea. And then it was like, and I think. So we kind of lost. All right, we got him back, Boch. We heard the very beginning of your answer, and then the ghost of Joe DiMaggio jumped in and broke up our phone call.
No, I said I like the idea. To challenge them. I'm not going to use it on them, but it would be something that I could see Marcus going, okay, I'll show you. But it's time to just leave them alone, and this don't be the black cloud in this deal.
Well, Boch, I'm kind of curious, when you show up to a team, like you kind of said that he reminded you of Posey a little bit, and when you show up to a team that doesn't have a Semien-type player, do you immediately say, I have to find a guy like that, or I need to find a guy that kind of can become something like that?
Yeah, you as a manager, those are guys that you really need on the ball club. They're invaluable to you. And I'll give you a quick story. We were in Detroit. Alan Trammell, who's a good friend of mine, who coached for me back when I was managing San Diego. And, Alan was very similar to Marcus Semien. I'm talking about a Hall of Famer with the way they played and the way they carried themselves. And Alan was talking to Marcus. The three of us were talking behind the cage because Detroit was trying to sign him at the same time we were. They were recruiting him. And Alan said, we knew we needed a guy like you. And he was right. Every time he's a guy like that. So that's quite a compliment, especially from Hall of Famer Trammell, a real
You're hearing that as well, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Unfortunately,
think I think he's using Bluetooth. And here's what happens, Kevin. He's using Bluetooth because he's driving. He's driving around. He's trying to get to know DFW even better. He wants to know the place. He likes the way that it drives a little bit. And every once in a while, the Bluetooth gets a little disconnected. That's just what I'm thinking here. I'm just going off based on my history with Bluetooth, and so that maybe that's what it is. We need to install a landline in his car. So
is that
cord that'll just
car phone.
Yeah, car phone that will have a cord attached to the car,
like in the 80s and stuff,
and just everywhere. It's kind of like a trolley, Kevin, where there's just a line that goes with him everywhere he goes. We've been on trolleys before.
Sure,
we know how this works. So I think this is a way to do it.
Okay, well, that is something I guess we'll take under consideration. All right, third time's the charm, Bruce. I think we got the bulk of the Alan Trammell story. Sorry, we keep having some difficulty there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, too. I don't know what part you missed, but the gist of it was how bad Detroit was trying to sign him, and I'm glad they didn't. But, Alan said how bad they needed a player like that, and every team does, and that's quite a compliment to Marcus.
Boch, so far the environment out at the ballpark here has just been awesome. Yesterday, obviously a lot of Cardinal fans there, a lot of Texas Ranger fans. The Atlanta series just had a great vibe to it. And I'm wondering, when another team brings in a lot of fans, how does it feel from a player standpoint, and how does it feel from a manager standpoint when you have an environment where you're going to get a lot of cheering if the other team does something well, and you're going to get a lot of cheering when you do something well?
Well, I think you expect it when you have such a big fan base like the Cardinals, who are a storied franchise. The older franchises, they just travel well, and that's part of the game, and which is fine. It's not something that bothers me. Now, if they're larger than your number, then that might get to you a little bit. But we had a lot of fans there last night too, and it was just a really good, competitive, entertaining game that both sides enjoyed. Thankfully, our fans got to enjoy it a little bit more. But no, that's to be expected. I wasn't surprised to see a lot of Braves fans here because of their success, but. Sometimes you have to earn some things, and that's your fans get their trust, their belief in you, and hopefully that's happening.
So, Boch, you've been to every place in the Major League Baseball spectrum. My son was asking me driving home last night the kind of most raucous environment in baseball, and I said for me it was Philadelphia. And I'm just wondering, for you, what has been kind of maybe the craziest environment when you're there, either as a player or a coach?
You know what? That's a good one. I think you have to put Philly up there. Both New York teams, but I'd still put Philly at the top there. I think they're winners there. I've had to go there for the playoffs, and man, they're I'm not just talking loud, but they're pretty rude too at times. They'll get on you pretty good, and they'll get on your family pretty good too. So it's just part of the game. Again, it's the history of them, though. When you go in there that you're going to have to deal with a hostile situation.
All-Star voting is open. So many worthy players from the Texas Rangers, and I'll throw out one of them. Why does anyone challenge Adolis Garcia's arm anymore?
Well, I talked about this the other day. As a base runner, you have your instincts on when you think you can take the extra base. And I think times you forget about who's throwing the ball, his athleticism, things like that, and you just don't really believe it. And that's why those same guys keep leading the league every year in assists. Because you just say, there's no way he's going to throw me out. And he'll do a 180 and fire a bullet right on the bag, and which he did a couple of days ago. He loves that challenge. He loves to show off his arm. So again, it's just the the guy that hit the ball or the base runner just does not believe it because he's trusting his instincts, and that's why that happens.
Bruce Bochy joining us here on the KNC Masterpiece on 105.3 The Fan, as he does every single Tuesday at 12:20. And Bruce, is there a word that you can use to describe your feeling on what's going on with deGrom and maybe how the fans should feel? Because I think there are some fans that are a little frustrated at it, but at the same time, there's a lot of winning going on, so that takes away a lot of that, frustration. So how would you describe kind of what you're dealing with and what you think fans should feel there?
Well, I can tell you this: Jacob is probably the most frustrated of anybody trying to get this going. Obviously, there's concern; it's not happening as fast as we would like. We're going to have some information today, getting another picture of it, seeing exactly what's going on. I can tell you, this guy's been working his tail off to get back. He's been throwing lone bullpens. He's been shortening up the bullpens, doing things to try to get over the hump. I stood in there for one bullpen, and it is amazing, the gift this guy has, but it just not quite coming around like he had hope, we had hope, and of course the fans were hoping. And are you there?
Yeah. No, we're still listening.
Okay, I thought I lost you because I was getting used to it. But anyway, we'll definitely have some information. But he's on a 60-day. We know he's not going to pitch in that 3-week area. Now we got to decide what we're going to do, our next move, and the best thing for Jacob, the best thing for our club. And we'll have something today.
I've always been curious about how that information gets passed down. Like, does it go player and doctor to the GM to you, or are y'all all in a meeting with the doctor together? Like, how does that custody go of that information?
Well, it goes to the player first. Jacob is he's the one that should know first. It's his arm and his health, and so he'll see Dr. Meister, and they'll talk about his situation, what he thinks needs to be done. Of course, our training staff, they'll be involved with that, and that information will go to Chris Young, and then Chris, he'll come down and give me the scenario. Meanwhile, of course, Ray Davis, he'll be one of the first to know before me too. So that's how it's going to pass down, and we'll huddle up and as a group, Jacob, the training staff, Doc, myself, and CY, and just talk about what the next move is.
Boch, I have a buddy who listens every single time you hop on air. He loves what you do, and we were talking the other day, and he was like, "Man, I'd love to share a bourbon with that guy someday." And our question then was, "Hey, what do you like? What is there a specific type of bourbon?" And you're like, "That's the one. That's the one. You bring a bottle of that, I'm good."
Yeah. No, I like trying different kinds. My go-to probably would be Weller. To have something nice to sip on, but. Hey, I'm good trying things, and word gets out you like bourbon. So, your birthday comes or something happens, you get gifts. So I enjoy sipping on one occasionally, just to relax. I think when I was young, I probably drank more beer, but now I just like sipping on a bourbon occasionally, maybe even having a cigar.
Well, I don't know if gifts are in order right now, but if people want to send you cigars or bourbon, you did crack into the all-time top 10 managerial wins in baseball history. Do you take time for those kinds of personal achievements, or are you like, hey, we're in the middle of the season, I'll be happy about that later?
Right. And I'll be honest, it's kind of how I feel. I was very humbled, but, you're locked into the season, your own world. That's again, that was an honor because I did have a chance to see Walter Olson in spring training in Vero Beach quite a few times because I went to high school in Melbourne, Florida, and that's a half hour north of Vero Beach, Dodger Town, where they had spring training. So that it was cool, but again, we're just fortunate. We're right on the backs of these players. as managers, be blessed to be doing this as long as I've been doing. That's going to happen. If you keep managing, you're going to pass people. So it's not, something I look for. I couldn't tell you who's next because that's been brought up, but right now I'm just locked in on this season.
I mean, I can tell you if you want to know, but we don't have to do that.
Yeah, but I will say, out of the last few, Walter Alston, when that came up, I said, wow. I never met him, but I was 10 feet from him many times when we would go down behind the dugout in the 7th, 8th inning when the fans would leave so we could get closer to the dugouts. And that's back when before they had cover on the dugout so you could see the players, you could see, of course, the manager and the game. It's pretty cool to grow up there.
Boch, my last question for you. I was watching a lot of college baseball this weekend with all the regionals happening. You played at Eastern Florida State College. If you could say, what's the biggest difference for a fan watching a college baseball game versus a Major League Baseball game? What would you say the biggest difference is?
Well, I think if you looked at the major differences, the number of great players you have. It gets weeded out, the higher you go. But I went to some Vanderbilt games the last 3 years, when I stepped down, retired, and I saw Tennessee play there. I saw Joyce throw there. And this was a man, I'm going, that's a major leaguer. And now he's pitching for the Angels. So when you go to college game, you're going to probably see some major leaguers. Now, it's called Eastern Florida College now, but when I went there as a junior college, Brevard, and which in Florida, JUCO baseball is outstanding baseball. It's kind of what we did in the 70s to stay eligible for the draft, and then we would go on to a 4-year school because you couldn't, if you went to a 4-year school, you couldn't get drafted the first couple of years. So that's kind of the route that a lot of guys took.
And awesome stuff. As always, appreciate it. Love watching this team. The fan base has been ecstatic all year, so we thank you for your time as well.
Guys, thank you. I'm going to get a new phone for you next time, so we'll be good.